Marcia Zidle. I am an executive business coach. I grew up in Northeast Pennsylvania and have been living in Dallas for a number of years. And as I say to people, yes, I'm one of those damn Yankees who came down here. Two of my three children are Texans, and even though I still have my Yankee accent, I really consider myself a Texan. It actually chose me, and so there's a little story behind that. And so I became an executive coach not because I chose it, it's because of circumstances that happened in my life. A number of years ago, I was living in Los Angeles. I'm married, 3 small children. My husband works for a major oil company, and I'm going to graduate school, part-time. And he comes home one day and says, guess what? I've been offered to be a project manager in Stavanger, Norway. It's a great opportunity, and I want to go. And I said, having started a graduate program before, and having to give it up because of him moving around a lot, I said, you go, I stay. And I stayed behind a year, worked with my faculty advisor to get as many courses done as possible, and joined him there. And it was only going to be for a year. So instead of him being there 2 years, he was there 5 years, and I was there 4 years. And all of a sudden I'm thinking, how am I going to work? I have this graduate degree, and I can't work. And I was told, as a spouse, you cannot get a work permit. Well, that didn't sit well with me. So I found out, yes, I could get a work permit as a part-time independent consultant. And that's what I did there. Now I'm back in Los Angeles, and I'm saying, where am I going with my career? And since I have an entrepreneurial spirit, I just decided to still continue being an independent consultant, built up a management development firm, and now I'm doing business and leadership coaching with entrepreneurs and business leaders. So as I said, it chose me. I did not choose it. My niche is working with entrepreneurs moving from startup to scale up. They've already have some financing, they're on their way, and they need someone to help them develop an infrastructure so that they can grow successfully. So that's one niche I have. And the other niche is working with emerging leaders in organizations to give them and to help them develop the skill set so they can really do well as they move up in the organization and as they lead other people. I hearken back to so some of the threads that I see women entrepreneurs having to deal with, and I think women in general having to deal with, is what I call the 3 R's. And the 3 R's are risk-taking, getting out of your comfort zone, resiliency, bouncing back, because there are going to be failures and there are going to be times where you are going to fall flat on your face or you may be disappointed. And the third is resourcefulness, which is thinking outside the box. If don't take a no, find different ways. If you have obstacles, work around them, work through them, kick them, negotiate, whatever it is, but keep moving forward. So those are the 3 things that I see. I'm going to have to give you 3 people, okay? The first, when I was young, I had a wonderful friend whose mother would always say to me when I would moan and groan, Marcia, this too will pass. And I learned that from her. Life goes on, and you just have to go with the flow. The second, who has inspired me a great deal, is a man who wrote a book, In Search of Meaning. His name was Viktor Frankl. He was a Holocaust survivor. And he talked about no matter what life brings you, no matter what's taken away, you still have one thing, and you own it, and that's your attitude. And so that has kept me going through my life. And my third person, who's very personal, is my daughter Heather. And back in 2004, I remember the day, June 2004, at 29 years old, she was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And she had to give up her job. She had to leave her apartment. And she came to live with us for 9 months until she could get back on her feet. That was very interesting. Anyway, fast forward 11 years later, she lives on her own. She lives a very full, independent life. She has a great job, utilizing her skills. And she says, you know, Ma, MS, I may have MS, but it doesn't define who I am. And so not only does she inspire me, but is the other people who I have met, got to know very well, who are dealing with a chronic disease and still see themselves as victors, not victims. And so I get inspiration from her and the other people I know every day. If opportunity comes your way, grab it. In other words, many times we are fearful of, and we hold ourselves back. We're fearful and hold ourselves back. And it doesn't mean that everything that's offered to you, you have to take. You have to do due diligence. You have to say, does it make sense? But you can't, I could have said no to an overseas assignment. I could have said no to other things. If you want to, I can talk about the radio show I'm doing. I could have said no to you, but I didn't. And so I think what's important for young women is to have enough self-confidence and faith in themselves and in the world to say yes to something. And I'll give you an example of women who hold themselves back. I was at a networking event here a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago, and a woman comes up to me. We know each other from some other place. We're talking, what's going on, da-da-da-da, and she says, she's a writer, and I really would like to write more. Well, it just so happens that I am writing for a website portal called BizCatalyst 360. I know the owner of the site. In fact, I'm also doing a newsletter for him called The Authentic Leadership. And I said to her, I know Dennis. If you're really interested, I can connect you with him. So I sent her the URL. And I said, let me know. Never heard back. Now, it could have been, it was not right for her. That's fine. She could have just sent me something that said, I think I'm going to hold off on this. But part of me, in going back to our conversation, said she's afraid. She's holding herself back. She's not taking the risk. She's not grabbing the ring. And so that's, even if you're uncertain, even if you're not sure what the heck you're doing, because there are plenty of times I don't know what the heck I'm doing, but get people who can help you. And I would have been a tremendous help to her. Not only would I have introduced her, but said, what do you need to know? Let me share some of my experiences. So that's my message to young women. What I ask my clients if they're hesitant, such things as, what's the worst thing that can happen? How realistic is that on a scale from 1 to 10? What's the best thing that can happen? And if that best thing happens, where's that going to lead you in your life? So to get them to look at, in a simple way, the pros and the cons, and then I'll ask, okay, something like, what's stopping you? What is it that's stopping you? Talk to me about it. And how, and then if it's something is really significant stopping them, okay, I acknowledge that. What are some of the things you can do? What are some of the things you can do to lessen the risk? Who can you talk to? What can you do? Because I think many of us are afraid. There are two fears women have, and I've exhibited both. One is fear of success. what are people going to think? Am I going to be still the same person? Will I have the same friends, family? And then fear of failure. If I fall flat on my face, oh boy, it's going to be all over the newspapers. Everyone's going to know about it. I'm going to be whatever. And we have to get over those two fears. So those are some of the things I would say. Because I have lived overseas, because we've lived in Sydney, Australia, and we lived in Stavanger, Norway, because of my husband's careers in exploration. And I've traveled many different places. And I love traveling, and I think traveling opens up you meet new people, you have new experiences, you learn about different cultures, and you learn a lot about yourselves. So, in thinking about where would I like to go next, and where haven't I been, and why would I like to go there, I've been to North Africa. But I haven't been to the continent of Africa. And I would love to go to Africa, love to go to an animal safari, because I love nature, and I would like to learn more about the African cultures, because they are so interesting, and I don't know as much about them. So that would be on my bucket list, is to travel more, go to Africa, and a couple of other places that I might not have seen. In fact, which is interesting, I've traveled all over the world, but I haven't seen a lot of the national parks in the U.S., and that would be another thing I would like to do. Remember I said that one of the key skills women have to develop and enhance is risk-taking. Okay. About 2.5 years ago, out of the blue, I get a phone call saying, how would you like to host a national internet radio show? And I said, what? What do you mean? I've never done this before. So I hemmed and hawed for just a little. I did a little due diligence, and I said, what am I getting into? And then I said, okay, I'll do it. And it was an interesting process, because initially they wanted me to be, it's called Voice America Talk Radio, and they have about 11 channels, and one of the channels was Empowerment Channel. And they wanted me to talk about women's issues and about career issues. And I said, that's something I know. But I want to learn more about other things as well. And I was moving into being a business coach. So I said, I'd rather be more on the business channel. And so the radio show is called The Business Edge, and it's weekly, and I interview entrepreneurs, business leaders, and business owners and thought leaders on topics of how to grow your business with less stress and more success. In other words, how to take the growing pains out of growth. And that's where I'm learning so much, not only about leadership. I had someone on crowdfunding, business ethics, finance, all these different topic areas that are helping me grow and understand and learn so much. So at this point, it's going into its 3rd year, and I have a sponsor, and I'm looking for additional sponsors, and it has touched me, because I'm learning about people's stories, and I have interviewed several women entrepreneurs. And if you'd like me to tell you about their stories a bit, I'd be happy to do that. But women entrepreneurs have great stories, because they did not grow up saying, I wanted to be an entrepreneur. That was not in the cards for them. They are what are called accidental entrepreneurs. Circumstances occurred in their lives, and they grabbed the ring, and they said, I'm going to build my own business. I'm going to manufacture my own a product or whatever. Filling their own need. One quick story. A friend of mine had a corporate career. She was doing very well. The single mom, and she was raising a child. And one day, her child was only 2 or 3 years old, and my friend was using a curling iron, And the daughter grabbed the curling iron, that's the cord, and then the cord fell, and the daughter grabbed the curling iron and burned her hand. Very like 2nd to 3rd-degree burns. So my friend said, you know, there has to be a product out there, a cabinet out there, so you can hide the cords so a kid can't grab it. Nothing out there. She quit her job. She said, I have to, and she started doing research. And she got the financing, she got the manufacturing, the distribution. 5 years later, she has a product that is now in some of the home furnishing stores. And was it difficult? Yes. She had to learn so much, but she saw a need, and the need came from her own personal experience with her daughter. You know, I was thinking about that, and I did bring one little card here because it reminded me of Margaret Mead's very famous quote, and she said, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world." And I'm going to adapt that to say, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful women can change the world. There is power in what we do. And when I say change the world, I'm not talking about going out there and slaying world hunger. If you want to do that, great. I'm talking about looking at your world, whatever that your world is, with your friends, with your family, with your faith, with your community. And think about, what difference can I make? How can I make that change? How can I make a difference in people's lives? And that's part of what I do. Yes, I am a business executive coach, but what drives me is making a difference in people's lives and helping them be better leaders, more effective business owners, and utilizing their skill sets to the fullest. So that, to me, is the power of women. I go back to making a difference. Knowing that somehow I have, in some way, shape, or form, every day I'm helping someone grow, become more of who they are, more of who they want to be. I think one of the greatest assets we have as women is the experiences we have. Whether it's raising children, whether it's working working our own business, whether it's volunteering, and learning from those experiences. Because there's so much out there and so much great people out there that we can get to know. And not only and we learn from them. So even if we're volunteering, we are helping others, but I think I get more from my volunteer experience than I give. So that's the last thing I would like to say.